everybody, it's Tara Bryan, and you are listening to the Course Building Secrets podcast. All right, everybody, happy September. I was reminded today that it's been a little bit since I have been on the podcast with you guys, and I apologize for that. I miss you. It has apparently been a little bit of a crazy time trying to get everybody back to school and get my house empty again and get all of that stuff organized. So I apologize that I've been MIA, but I am back and I have some exciting news for you. So first of all, let me just tell you that we are going to be launching a new season of the Course Building Secrets podcast. I'm so excited. It's going to be amazing. I have amazing guest speakers. We're coming out with some new material and new focus, and it's going to be awesome. So look for that because it is going to be coming out sometime next month. I'm not going to tell you exactly when, but I will certainly let you know when we get there. All right, so with that, I want to talk today about personalizing the learning experience for your customers. So here's the deal, is that if you are like most experts that are out there, you have an expertise that will solve lots and lots of problems for lots and lots of types of people that you potentially want to help. And one of the things that we talk about so much, especially in Learn Academy, especially if you're involved in any sort of business training, is that the riches are in the niches, right? You have to focus on one person that you want to train, to take care of, to fulfill on services that you are helping them with. So you need to work with one person. And within that one person, you need to solve one problem that they have. And I always chuckle when I think about, like, what's the one problem that I can help that person with, right? Because they're going to have lots of problems, just like all of us have lots of things going on, right? A lot of us are in that space where we aren't just doing one thing, and we don't just have, we can't just wake up in the morning and do one thing until we go to bed, right? There's lots of things going on. So just like in our world, we have to look at our customer and what they need and what problem they have that we are best qualified to solve. Not all the problems, but one problem. And so that's kind of the next thing, right? Is so you figure out who it is that you want to serve and what problem you are most qualified and honestly most passionate about solving for them. Because the problem is when we look at solving all the problems, or we look at just giving them general information about our topic or our expertise, hoping that it may help them, is that really what happens is it's not actually going to help them, right? Because they're not going to get a result. They're not going to be able to move forward. So one of the things that we love to do is to actually kind of map out that path. What does that path look like for them when they're starting to when they're getting that result? Whether it be the first result or the big result, it doesn't really matter when you first do it. It's just really looking at, like, what's the problem, and then what are the steps that they need to take to fulfill that problem, right? All right, so this takes me back to learning tracks. So one of the things that we do in Learn Academy is that we help people launch their online programs, be it an online course, a membership, a group coaching program. It doesn't really matter what it is. We help people launch it and get it packaged so it can be automated. And so the challenge that we're always up against is, well, if our goal is to get people from one-on-one services and really be able to package what they're doing in a new way to get sales, to get consistent revenue online versus doing project-based work, then that's the ultimate result, right? Is that somebody will be able to sell their package program and start making money from it versus the one-on-one work. So there are a couple of different sort of paths or roadmaps that somebody has to take in order to get there. So the challenge is, like, where do you start and how do we serve people at the various places that they are? So we have a 3-level strategy for how we can help people. The first one is you are doing one-on-one work. You are just taking whatever it is that people are giving you and fulfilling on that work, right? So you're a consultant, a freelancer, a coach that's just doing one-on-one work. And in order for you to make the transition to even to scale your business in a different way, be it having employees or having more people do your process or bringing it online, of course, which is our end goal, is you have to be able to identify and package up what you do in one methodology, in one what we call a framework. And so that's your first step. Like, you cannot get in the game of packaging anything until you've defined your framework, which is the way that you uniquely get somebody from point A to point B. That's all it is, right? How do you uniquely solve somebody's problem? And what are the steps that you take to get there every single time? That's important. Like, you have to be able to consistently get them results. Well, you do that by defining your framework and then running through your framework. Then you can hand that off to a team, you can package it, or you can, scale it in a completely different way, which we won't even get into today. So that's the first level. That's the first track that people in my world come into, and they're like, I don't even know how to get this out of my head and into something that I can package, right? Because I just organically do it, or I just do whatever comes next. That sort of flow mode that so many people are in order to get to the next level of your business, you have to get out of that. So that, again, is the first level. So the second level then is, okay, great. Now I have this framework that is mine. Now I'm ready to hand it off to someone else. How do I do that? How do I package it in a way that provides either that customer with the results, or maybe you want to train a team. You want to train somebody else to be able to do that process so they can help you fulfill on different projects. That's the next step, is how do you create that? How do you package that? How do you get it out there now that you have it defined? And then the third step is, once that's humming, once you've got that converting and you have some customers that are in that, how do you take it to the next level and add in some super cool things to make it an experience that makes your customers stay and refer you to other people and just really become your biggest fans? And that's the third level. So within Learn Academy, you really can come in at any point and still get a ton of value, because we're not only learning about each one of those tracks, but we're also able to connect with other people, get additional ideas, and bring the whole experience up to another level, because you have a community and a group of people that are helping to elevate what you're doing and really provide you the support of, how on earth do I make this all happen? So that is, in a nutshell, just an example of how you can customize a learning experience. Is everyone has a slightly different way that they're probably coming into your world. So is there a way to look at your individual customers and say, okay, so if you're coming in with this part of the problem, start here. If you have tackled that problem already and now you're ready to start on this problem, start here. And you know what? If you've tackled those two other problems, here is the thing that's going to take you and just throw jet fuel on what you're doing, right? You cannot put jet fuel on something that doesn't exist yet, right? So nobody is going to want to start there if they don't have anything established. They'll just be lost and not able to do anything. But if somebody comes in and you're asking them to recreate what they've already created, then obviously that's not a good fit. And so you can actually build an experience that is automated and customized to each one of those different groups. Now, I will say the caveat is, well, two things. One, keep it super simple and start with one. Don't start with all three. So where does it make sense to start? It probably makes sense to start with the person who's trying to get into the game, right? Who's trying to solve that initial problem that you are equipped to handle and that you are best in the world at doing, right? What's that very first problem that you can solve? Then when that group is ready to move forward, then you create level 2, and then level 2 is created. Then when that group is ready to finish level 2, you create level 3, and so on and so forth as they're growing within your world. So instead of starting and saying, oh, I need to do all of this, Start with that one problem and then continue to build as you have people who are ready to move into that next problem. So the other thing that I want to bring up around this, because you may say, oh my gosh, well, I have like a million different audiences and I have a million different levels that I can take them on. And again, that's why I say you may need to extract the big picture out of your head so you know what it is, but then you're very quickly going to go and laser focus into the first problem that you can solve for your ideal person. If your ideal person already is ready to put jet fuel on their thing and that's where you want to start, great, start there. Don't start at the beginning of like when somebody first has a problem, but only focus on that one problem with that one person and where they are, right? Are they a newbie? Are they advanced? Are they somewhere in between? And really get focused on that. Then the next thing is to just think about that one result that you can give them. Like, what's that one thing? For me, when I start with somebody and I can help them get that framework out of their head and into something that they can actually start teaching from, that is the ultimate win for me. Because I know that that is one of the biggest struggles that people have when they're trying to make this switch is how on earth is it that I do the things that I do and what are the steps? And so for me, I know that that is the big win that I can help somebody get because, again, then they can start selling. You cannot start selling unless you have that and transition out of what you're doing. So that is that big piece. So hopefully this helps you today as you're thinking about like, how do you structure your thing? And I guess for me, the bottom line is keep it as simple as possible in each level or each stage, whichever you want to call it, and just try and solve for that one particular challenge that person has at the time, and that will then lead them to continue working with you, because that's where then they're going to need the next step, and then the next step, and the next step. And I think one of the things I struggled with around this for a very long time was that I felt like I had to give all of it and then kind of start them where they needed to go versus just trying to package something to get that one result and then move them forward. So that's like once the learning tracks started, then that helped them focus and me focus on where I needed to be at the time based on where my learner was. Because here's the reality is you are so I always talk about the experts continuum. You can't see it because we're on audio. But if you imagine a horizontal line and your knowledge, your ability to do what you're doing is probably at like a level 9 or 10 in terms of an expert scale. And your learner is going to probably be at a 2 or a 3, right? So if you look at the continuum and it starts at 0 and it ends at 10, like you are like the expert, you know everything, you can talk about it, forever and ever and ever. But your learner, when they're coming in, is probably just at a 2 or a 3. So really, you only need to teach them at a level 2 or 3, right? Eventually, they may get to a 10 with you over time, and then you can geek out on all things at that level. But the most important thing that you can do is just to really teach to where they are, what's their level, and focus on that versus all the things that you know. Because the biggest thing is overwhelm, right? Like people get overwhelmed so quickly that when you're kind of designing this and you put yourself in your learner's shoes, what's at a 2 or 3 level, right? Like you're not going to go from 0 to $1 million in 30 days. Like, I'm sorry, somebody may say that you could do that, but it's not going to happen, right? If you don't have any income coming in, you have no clients, you have nothing going on, you're most likely not going to go from 0 to $1 million in 30 days. Now, I guess if you sold $1 million package, you would, but come on, realistically, that's not going to happen. But if you said, you know what, I just want to sell $5,000, I just want to sell $10,000, that is super realistic, right? Like if you could make another $5,000 this month or an extra $10,000 this month, like that is super realistic for you to be able to do even when you're starting from scratch and repackaging what you're doing. And so then you're just focused on helping somebody get from 0 to 5,000 or 0 to 10,000. That's way more doable than 0 to a million. But if somebody's already at 800,000 or 900,000 and you want to get them to a million, well, there you go. That's realistic. But you have to start where they are and move them from that place. And then, going back to like 0 to a million, great. Then the next step is to go from 10,000 to 100,000 maybe, right? Maybe you can make that jump. Then 100,000 to 500,000, then 500,000 to a million. That is a realistic path that somebody can take to get to $1 million, not 0 to a million. And so just think about that example as you're trying to map out and plan what it is you're doing. But there you go. So that was a little bit of a tangent, but back to it. So we've created learning paths specifically around these different tracks. And you'll see that now in the podcast. You'll see that now on TaraLBryan.com. You'll see that in Learn Academy, that we're going to hit people exactly where they are and be able to help them move through the right goals to get ultimately to that place where they have a really solid, highly functioning 6 or 7 figure online course business, which is ultimately the goal, right? So we start and we have various tracks that will take people in that direction. So think about that as you are mapping out your course business strategy, and how you really want to start working with your customers as you move from one-to-one, maybe done-for-you services, into more of a done-with-you or do-it-yourself model. All right, there you go. There is your course building secret tip of the day. Hopefully this was helpful and you got a couple different nuggets from this talk today, and just a little bit of insight into how things can be structured from a learning perspective, how you can help solve that particular problem and get to that level of success that you're looking for as you start to transition your one-on-one done-for-you services, time-based projects into something that's more packaged and scalable without your time or adding more complexity. All right, there you go. Visit us out on TaraLBryan.com to see more information about all the things that are going on in our world, or join the conversation over on our Facebook group, the Online Course Creators Group. All right, there you go. Have a great day.
Hey everybody, are you a business owner ready to streamline and scale your business? Imagine solving the biggest business challenges with clarity, a strategy, and a clear plan. Hey, I'm Tara Bryan, and I want to invite you to take the first step towards transforming your business with a free 30-minute discovery call. This call is an opportunity to discuss your goals, identify key challenges, and learn how my mentorship program can help you achieve the success you're aiming for. In just a half hour, we'll explore how you can scale your business by enhancing your authority strategy, engagement strategy, and retention strategy. You'll get personalized advice and a clear path forward. Ready to take the first step? Click on the link below that's in the show notes to book your free discovery call now. I hope to talk to you soon.